Let's take a look at a demonstration problem requiring us to do the journal entries associated with process costing. So we've got a problem here, and it says Lucy Paint Company prepares and packages paint products. The company has two departments, blending and packaging. Direct materials are added at the beginning of the blending process and at the end of the packaging process. So conversion costs are added evenly throughout each process. Data from the month of May for the blending department is as follows. So we've got beginning work in process. 8,400 gallons are started into production. 6,200 were completed and transferred out to packaging. And then ending work in process is 40% complete. The costs right now in the packaging department, this is for blending. The beginning work in process inventory is 0, costs added, direct materials, direct labor, manufacturing overhead, so total costs. So we're asked to do the journal entry to record the use of direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. Okay, so we know direct materials were $5,460. So we need to go ahead and do that journal entry. So the journal entry to do that would be to credit our raw materials inventory for the $54,660. So we're taking it out of our raw materials inventory, hence the credit to inventory, which is an asset. And we are moving that into work in process into our blending department, hence the debit. So that's an increase to our work in process inventory for $54,600. Now we're going to need to look at direct labor as well. So we have $920 in direct labor costs that we need to account for. And the similar process here will take place. So we'll debit our work in process to show that we've incurred $920 in direct labor. And we will go ahead and credit our wages payable, which is a liability. So my liability is going to go up until I actually pay them, which time this will go away. But those costs then are getting pushed into our work in process blending department, $920. Now we need to take a look at our manufacturing overhead. That was $1,912. So we will, again, very similar, debit our work in process blending department to move that overhead into our work in process into that department with a debit, and then we will go ahead and credit our manufacturing overhead for $1,912. So it's taking it out of our overhead account and moving it into our work in process. Also, we are asked to record the cost of the gallons completed and transferred out to packaging. So we're going to move it from our blending into our packaging department. Now, as part of that, we need to know the cost per equivalent unit. Now the answer here is $105 per gallon. So if we had 6,200 gallons that were completed and transferred out to packaging during May, we are going to debit our packaging work in process and credit the blending work in process. So we're now taking it out of blending and moving those costs or pushing them along the process into packaging. So we'll debit the packaging, credit the blending, takes them out of blending, moves them into packaging. For in this case, 6,200 times the 105 or 6,510. Now the very last part of the problem, it asks us to go ahead and show a T account to work in process inventory, the blending. So to kind of show you what happened when we do all of these journal entries together. So we had the debit to direct materials, work in process blending, which was a credit to direct materials, the wages payable, and the debit then to work in process blending and our manufacturing overhead. So we've got our total costs for the blending process posted in, and then the items that get pushed out into packaging will be credited. So what we're left with is $1,782 of work in process still going on in our blending department.